The day it all fell apart was supposed to be the happiest day of Maria's life. 15 years ago, Maria was wheeled into the delivery room with her husband Jamal holding her hand, smiling like a proud father-to-be. She had carried their babies, triplets, no less, through swollen feet, back pain and emotional swings that could shake the walls. Jamal had told her every day she was beautiful, every single day. But when the first baby came out, silence filled the room. The second, more silence. By the third, the doctors were glancing at each other, hesitating. Jamal looked at the newborns, and his smile cracked into disbelief. His rich brown skin paled with shock. The triplets were unmistakably white, not light-skinned, not mixed. Full-on pale skin, soft blondish fuzz on their heads, and icy blue eyes. Maria barely had time to catch her breath before Jamal let go of her hand. "What the hell is this?" His voice wasn't angry. It was scared, confused. Maria was weak, in pain, but her heart pounded like war drums. "They're ours," she whispered. Jamal stepped back like she'd slapped him. "Ours, Maria. They're white, all three. Are you serious right now?" The next few hours were chaos. Jamal's mother showed up and nearly fainted. His sister took one look at the babies and walked out. Nurses whispered, doctors gave no-comment glances. Maria kept repeating, "I never cheated. Jamal, I swear. Something's wrong here." But no one believed her, and no DNA test was offered. They didn't want facts, they wanted someone to blame. 3 days later, Jamal packed her bags for her, not even gently, just threw things in, like she was garbage. "You're not my wife. You're not the woman I married." She stood there, arms empty. They didn't let her take the babies, said she had mental issues and needed to be evaluated, that she was too unstable. They told her, if she was lucky, the state would place the babies with a more suitable family. Her own husband signed off on it. The last thing she remembered was Jamal slamming the door behind her. She slept in a shelter that night, blood still staining the back of her gown, her womb aching, her heart destroyed, and that was how she disappeared. 15 years passed, quietly, slowly, full of pain. Maria changed cities, changed her name. She tried to forget her babies, babies who weren't dead but might as well have been, until last month. A strange message hit her inbox. "Are you Maria Johnson? I think I'm your daughter." Her hands shook, her eyes blurred with tears. But what came next was the real shock. Maria couldn't breathe. She read the message over and over, like her mind couldn't believe it was real. "I think I'm your daughter." It was from a girl named Caitlin D. No profile picture, but her bio said she was 15 and lived in Chicago, same city where Maria had lost everything. Her fingers trembled as she typed back, "Caitlin, why do you think that?" The reply came fast. "Because I found something. A letter, hidden in a drawer at my foster mom's house. It had your name on it, and it said I was taken from you." Maria dropped her phone. 15 years of pain, of not knowing. Of waking up in cold sweats wondering where her babies were, if they were safe, if they even knew her name. Now here was this girl, Caitlin, saying she might be one of them. She picked the phone back up, her heart racing. "Are you alone? Are you safe?" she asked. Caitlin replied, "I have 2 brothers, we're triplets. We all found the letter together, we want to meet you." Maria sat back in the worn-out kitchen chair of her 1-bedroom apartment, overwhelmed. She didn't even know what to feel. Joy? Fear? Rage? The last time she saw her babies, they were crying in tiny hospital bassinets while everyone treated her like trash. Now here they were, teens, with questions and a truth that refused to stay buried. A week later, they agreed to meet. Maria stood outside a small park cafe on the north side of the city, clutching her coat like a shield. She saw them first. 3. Teens walking together. 2 boys and a girl. All 3 tall, pale, and strikingly beautiful. And then, one by one, they looked at her, eyes wide. The girl, Caitlin, gasped and ran straight into Maria's arms. "I knew it was you," she whispered, voice breaking. "You look like me, you look like us." The boys were slower, but they approached. One nodded, trying to act tough, but Maria saw the tear slip down his cheek. "I'm Liam," he said, quietly. "That's my brother Caleb." Maria touched their faces one by one. She couldn't stop crying. "You're really mine," she whispered. "I didn't leave you, I swear. They took you from me." They sat on a bench, trying to hold together a lifetime of missing pieces, and that's when Caitlin handed her the letter. It was yellowed, folded in a way that said it had been hidden for years. Maria opened it carefully. It was written in shaky handwriting by a nurse, a confession. Maria Johnson did not abandon her children. I witnessed the hospital administration falsify paperwork. Her husband requested immediate removal of the infants and used a private connection to place them into the foster system. I feared for my job, but this has haunted me. If her children ever find this, please tell them the truth. Maria's hands clenched the paper so tight it tore. Jamal, he didn't just throw her out, he erased her, lied to the system, got her declared unstable, and walked away free, letting her babies grow up believing a mother didn't want them. Maria looked at her children, now staring at her with wide eyes. "I want justice," she whispered. "Not just for me, for all of us." Caitlin nodded. "That's why we found you. We want to know everything, and we want to confront him." Maria's breath caught. "You know where he is?" Liam pulled out his phone, showing a social media profile. It was Jamal, older, rich-looking, happy. He had a wife, a house in the suburbs, a whole new life. Maria stared at the screen. He had moved on, like none of it ever happened. Her blood boiled. "I want him to see what he left behind." Maria stared at the image on the phone like it was a ghost rising out of her past. Jamal looked successful, polished. Graying at the temples, thick gold watch on his wrist, smiling with that same crooked grin she once fell in love with. In his arms was a little boy, no older than 5, a new son, a second chance family. Her voice was tight. "That's his house?" Liam nodded. "We've driven by it. He runs a real estate company now, has money, cars. It's like he never looked back." Maria's chest burned. He didn't look back. He erased me and raised his life over my grave. Caleb, the quieter twin, spoke for the first time. "So what do we do now?" Maria looked at each of them, pain and fire colliding in her eyes. "We don't knock on his door just to say, 'Hi.' We make him remember. We make him explain why he tossed us like trash." Caitlin touched her arm. "You really didn't cheat on him, did you?" The air fell still. Maria took a breath. "Never. But I know what it looked like. I know what people thought." She pulled a folded envelope from her purse, one she had kept all these years. "I went to a geneticist years after it happened. Couldn't afford much, but I got enough proof. I have a rare gene, OCA2 variation, that can cause albinism or fair skin when matched with certain European ancestry. Jamal's grandmother was half Irish. It lined up. There was no cheating, just rare genetics and ignorance." The kids exchanged glances. "You mean we really are biracial?" Caleb asked. "Yes, just very fair-skinned. That's why. People didn't believe you were his." Liam exhaled like a weight had lifted off his back. "Damn." Maria's eyes narrowed. "But that doesn't excuse what he did." The next few days were spent planning. The triplets stayed with Maria that weekend, 15 years late, but it felt like home instantly. They laughed. They cried. Maria made pancakes too thick and too burnt, and none of them complained. But the fire never left her belly. On the 4th day, Caitlin said, "He's speaking at a community business event this Friday. Public. Open mic. It'll be packed." Maria didn't blink. Perfect. Friday came like a rising storm. Maria wore a dark blazer, hair pinned up, eyes sharper than glass. Her kids walked beside her into the hall, Liam carrying the nurse's letter, Caitlin recording everything on her phone, Caleb silent but furious. Jamal stood at the front, laughing with investors, holding a mic like a man who owned the room. He didn't see her until she stood up. He froze. The mic caught his voice as he choked. "Maria?" The room quieted instantly. Maria stepped forward slowly like a hunter circling prey. 15 years ago, you threw me out of your life, accused me of betrayal without proof, took my babies, lied to everyone. Gasps echoed, cameras turned. These are your children, Jamal. All 3 of them, and you stole them from me. Jamal's face turned grey. Liam stepped forward and held up the letter. A nurse saw everything. Your cover-up failed. Jamal's hands shook. This isn't the place, Maria cut in. No, this is the perfect place, because you've built your empire on lies, and now everyone will know who you really are. A woman in the audience stood up, Jamal's current wife. Is this true? She demanded. Did you lie about everything? Jamal couldn't speak. The room broke into whispers, flashes, video recordings. His empire started to crack, right there on stage. Maria walked away, her children behind her, heads held high. The revenge had just begun. The car ride home was quiet at first. Maria drove with both hands on the wheel, her eyes sharp but calm. The silence in the car wasn't awkward. It was heavy, like all 4 of them were trying to process what had just happened. The way Jamal's face dropped, the way the crowd turned, the way his wife looked at him like she didn't know him anymore. Liam finally broke the silence. You think he's going to come after us? Maria's eyes stayed on the road. Legally? He'd be an idiot. Everything's documented. That letter, the cover-up, the stolen custody. I've got copies backed up in 5 places. Caitlin leaned forward from the back seat. You sounded like a damn lawyer back there. I've never seen someone shake a man to his knees with just a few words. Maria cracked a smile. I've had 15 years to think about what I'd say. They got back to the apartment, and for the first time Maria noticed how small it looked, with 3 nearly grown teens in it. But the space didn't seem to matter. It felt like home. Later that night, her phone buzzed. Unknown. Number. Maria, please. I need to talk. I didn't know. I didn't know they were really mine. Maria stared at the screen. She didn't reply. She turned off the phone. The next day, Caitlin's phone blew up with messages from classmates. Is this your mom in the video? Your dad's getting roasted all over Facebook. Your family's on TikTok, 300K views in 2 hours. Maria couldn't believe it. The confrontation had gone viral. She didn't want fame, but she wanted truth, and the world was eating it up. By Monday, reporters started calling, small blogs, then local TV stations. Everyone wanted the story. The woman who was kicked out after giving birth to white triplets now exposes her ex-husband's lie. Maria agreed to one interview. Just one. The woman hosting it was gentle, calm. Maria, you were painted as unstable, as a liar. Now, the world is seeing a different side. What do you want to say to those who didn't believe you? Maria paused. I don't want their apologies. I want them to learn about racism, about assumptions, about what happens when you take a mother's babies away without proof. I want justice, not pity. The interview was raw, real. It spread like wildfire. But with the attention came a different kind of storm. One night, while Maria was folding laundry, there was a knock at the door. She opened it, and there he was. Jamal, standing there like a man who'd crawled out of a war zone. His eyes bloodshot, tie crooked. He looked older than she remembered, smaller. I just need 5 minutes, he said quietly. Maria didn't speak. Liam walked up behind her. You want us to give you 5 minutes after you took 15 years? Jamal sighed. I deserve that. Caitlin appeared next. No, you don't. But Maria stepped aside. Let him talk. Jamal walked in slowly, eyes flicking around at the modest furniture, the worn carpet, the small couch. Then he looked at his kids, his real kids. I was scared, he said finally. Back then, when I saw those babies and I didn't understand, I panicked. My whole family was screaming in my ear. I thought you cheated. Maria didn't blink, and instead of a test, you chose destruction. Jamal nodded, ashamed. I know, I was weak. But seeing you today, all of you, it broke something inside me. I didn't know how wrong I'd been. You didn't know, Maria snapped. Or you didn't want to know. Silence. Then Maria said something she never thought she would. I'm not here for your apology. I already forgave myself. My kids forgave me the moment they reached out. You need to live with what you did and rebuild the trust you broke if they even want that. Jamal looked at the kids. They said nothing. He left quietly. No more words, no fake promises. Maria shut the door, and for the first time in 15 years, she felt peace. The next morning, Maria woke up feeling lighter but not completely free. Trauma didn't just vanish because someone admitted they were wrong. It lingered like dust in the corners of a forgotten room. But the difference now. She wasn't alone in that room anymore. Her kids were here, and they weren't going anywhere. The four of them sat around the tiny breakfast table eating eggs and toast when Caleb spoke up. So what now? Maria looked at him, then at Liam and Caitlin. Now we live, she said. We do the stuff we never got to, family stuff. Caitlin smiled. Even the cheesy kind? Especially the cheesy kind, Maria said. That day they made a list. Trip to the zoo, movie night with popcorn and terrible rom-coms, game night, visit Grandma's grave, DNA ancestry test. That last one surprised Maria, but Caitlin explained, I want to know who we are, where we really come from, not what people assumed. I want the truth. So they ordered the kits. Over the next 2 weeks, Maria's apartment transformed. The triplets brought energy with them, rearranged furniture, played music way too loud, and convinced Maria to try Instagram. She started posting old photos, sharing her story in pieces. People flooded her page with love, heartbreak, apologies, and support. But not everyone was kind. One comment read, Maybe he was right to doubt. Look at them. They don't even look mixed. Another, Women lie all the time, probably got caught and played victim. Maria wanted to delete them, but Caitlin stopped her. No, leave them. Let people see the hate that made this story possible in the first place. Then one day, something unexpected arrived in the mail. A letter, handwritten, from Jamal. Maria hesitated, then opened it. Maria, I can't stop thinking about what I did. I don't deserve forgiveness, but I want you to know I've started therapy. Real therapy. My new wife left me. She took our son, said she didn't want to raise him with a man who could throw away his first family. I've lost everything, and maybe that's fair, but I want to do something, anything to make it right. If there's a way to help to pay for the pain I caused, I will. Jamal. Maria sat quietly, rereading it 3 times. Then she folded it up, stuck it in a drawer, and walked away. Later that week, the ancestry results arrived. The triplets gathered around the kitchen table, excited. They opened Caitlin's first. Mixed ancestry. 52% Sub-Saharan African, 41% Northwestern European, the rest scattered. Liam and Caleb were nearly identical. Maria blinked. This proves it. Again. Caitlin held up the paper like a trophy. We're everything they said we weren't. That night, they lit candles and visited Maria's mother's grave. Maria hadn't been there in over a decade. The guilt had always been too heavy. I lost her the same year I lost you, she told them, but I think she's watching now. They stood in silence for a long time. When they got home, Maria checked her phone. Another message had come. This one wasn't from Jamal. It was from a woman named Vanessa B. Hi, I was the nurse who wrote that letter. I just saw your interview. I'm ready to talk, and I have more. Maria's heart skipped. There was more? Caitlin leaned over her shoulder. Who's Vanessa? Maria's eyes stayed locked on the screen. The woman who saw everything, and might finally help us bring it all out. Maria didn't sleep that night. She kept staring at the message. From Vanessa B., the nurse who had witnessed it all, the one brave enough to leave behind a letter 15 years ago when no one else dared. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard before she finally typed, Yes, I remember, please. What more do you have to tell me? The reply came within minutes. Too much to type. I retired last year. I'm in Evanston now. Please meet me. I've been carrying this for too long. Maria's mind raced. She didn't know if this was about closure or digging up more pain, but either way, she had to go. She told the kids the next morning. All three insisted on going with her. Vanessa lived in a quiet brick condo near the lake. When she opened the door, Maria nearly didn't recognize her. Her hair was fully grey now, her eyes tired but kind. "I never thought this day would come," Vanessa said, ushering them in. She offered them water, tea, cookies, but Maria wasn't. "Here for snacks." "I need the truth," she said, voice steady. "Everything you saw, everything they did." Vanessa nodded. She sat across from them and sighed, like she was about to unburden a lifetime of secrets. "The day you gave birth, I was the attending nurse. I remember it vividly because it was chaos the moment the babies came out, all white. The attending physician, Dr. Miller, immediately started whispering to another nurse. Jamal stormed, "Out of the room before you were even cleaned up." Maria clenched her fists. "They called security to keep you from holding the babies. Told them you were hysterical. I knew it was wrong, but I didn't have power, not then." Caleb leaned forward. "But why would they take her babies like that?" Vanessa's face hardened. "Because Jamal came from a powerful family, one that made donations to the hospital. The kind of people who knew how to whisper into the right ears." Liam's mouth dropped open. "Wait, this wasn't just about racism or anger. They pulled strings?" Vanessa nodded. "Exactly. They bypassed social services and had the babies declared at risk. Said the mother had a mental episode and couldn't be trusted. The paperwork was expedited and sealed. I only managed to sneak a copy of the preliminary report, what I turned into that letter." She pulled out a thin, battered folder from a drawer. "I kept this. For 15 years, I was afraid, but I knew one day I might need it." Inside were copies of early assessments, forms with altered timestamps and internal memos, suggesting the removal of the infants was at the father's request, based on genetic inconsistency and high emotional stress. Maria's jaw clenched so hard it hurt. "They buried me," she whispered. "They tried," Vanessa said, "but you survived." Caitlin looked through the papers, her hands shaking. "We could take this to court." Maria hesitated. "We could, but court means dragging it all out again. Years, attention, pain." Vanessa looked at her, her voice soft. "But it also means justice." That night, back at the apartment, the family sat in silence. Then Liam broke it. "I say we do it." Caitlin nodded. "Me too. He took our whole childhood away. He doesn't get to live happily ever after." Even Caleb, the quiet one, finally said, "Let's make them hear us." Maria stared at the folder. 15. Years of silence wrapped in 15 pages of evidence. She picked up the phone and dialed a number she hadn't in years, a law firm. "Hello, my name is Maria Johnson. I have evidence of medical fraud, illegal custody removal and civil rights violations. I'd like to file suit." The law firm called her back the very next day. They'd read the files Maria submitted through email, scanned copies of Vanessa's folder, the old letter, and even genetic proof of the children's ancestry. After one review meeting, they confirmed what Maria had always suspected. She had a solid case. Not just a civil suit, but potentially a federal one. They assigned her to a lead attorney named Maya Delgado, a sharp, no-nonsense woman who didn't flinch at the mess. In their first face-to-face, Maya said, "This isn't just about a custody dispute. This is a cover-up involving medical malpractice, racial profiling, and illegal adoption bypasses. If what you're saying checks out, we're not just suing Jamal, we're going after the hospital too." Maria sat frozen in her chair. "Are you saying they could go to jail?" Maya nodded. "Possibly, and you could receive major compensation. But more importantly, this could set a precedent so no one else ends up erased the way you were." It felt surreal. Maria, the woman who once slept on a shelter cot with blood still drying on her skin, now sat across from a lawyer who spoke about her like she mattered. Over the next few weeks, the story caught fire again. Maria's name trended. A hashtag surfaced. Justice for Maria. Caitlin's video of the confrontation with Jamal hit over 2 million views. Reporters lined up outside Maria's apartment. Influencers and public figures offered support. Some even offered money. She declined most of it, except one offer, a pro bono media team that helped her control the narrative. For the first time in 15 years, she was no longer a ghost. She was a force. Then came the subpoena, the hospital, Dr. Miller, Jamal, all officially notified of the lawsuit. That night, Maria sat the kids down. This next part, it's going to get loud. There'll be interviews, headlines, court appearances. You'll be dragged into it. Liam leaned back and crossed his arms. Good, let them try. Caitlin added, You already fought for us, now we fight with you. Even Caleb, who rarely spoke during serious talks, said, We want to be heard. The support poured in. Old classmates who'd once gossiped sent apologies. Nurses who once stayed silent now stepped forward with anonymous tips. But with the attention came threats too. An anonymous message appeared in her inbox. Drop the case before you destroy everything. People like you don't win. Maria showed it to Maya, who immediately involved cybersecurity professionals. They're scared, Maya said. That's why they're trying to shake you, don't back down. As the first court date approached, Jamal's lawyers reached out with a settlement offer. A big one. Enough money to buy a house, pay for the kids' college, start a new life. But Maria looked at the figure and shook her head. I'm not settling, she said. He didn't pay me. He stole from me. There's a difference. Maya smiled. Good. Because we're going to burn this thing to the ground. The morning of the hearing, Maria stood in front of the courthouse in a navy blue blazer. The triplets flanked her on each side, taller now, stronger. Jamal arrived moments later, looking worn out, pale, thinner than before. His lawyer tried to rush him past the reporters, but the cameras caught his face. Maria didn't flinch. Inside, the judge took the bench and reviewed the filings. Maya opened the case with a line that would be repeated on every evening news program. This is not a case of miscommunication or a misunderstanding. This is the story of a mother erased because of her skin, her gender, and a lie. Jamal didn't look at Maria, but she kept her eyes locked on him, not with hatred but with power. He couldn't destroy her anymore. She had her voice back, and this time she wasn't leaving quietly. The courtroom was quiet, one of those thick silences where even the sound of someone shifting in their seat felt loud. Maria sat upright, hands folded tightly in her lap, her lawyer Maya standing tall beside her. The triplets were behind her in the audience, dressed in clean, pressed clothes, their faces solemn but proud. The trial moved fast, too fast and too slow at the same time. Witnesses were called. First, Vanessa. She testified calmly, her voice steady despite the weight of her words. I watched the hospital label Maria as unstable without evaluation. I saw them remove her children without a court order. I submitted a complaint, but it was buried. That's why I left the letter. I couldn't live with the silence. Then came the geneticist, the one who had helped Maria understand the gene. That could explain her baby's appearance. It's rare, but not impossible, he said. Her combination of recessive genes from both parents can result in children who appear white, even if both parents are not. Then the triplets took the stand. Each of them spoke, their voices shaking only slightly. I spent my childhood thinking my mother abandoned me, Caitlin said. I thought she didn't love me. I had no idea I'd been lied to. Liam added, People looked at me and said, You don't look black. And that's all it took for them to erase my mother. Even Caleb, who rarely showed emotion, broke down as he said, We were robbed not just of a parent but of the truth. Jamal was called last. He stood in front of the courtroom, pale, blinking rapidly, fidgeting with his sleeves. I was scared, he mumbled. I was pressured. I didn't understand genetics. My family told me she cheated and I believed them. But you never got a DNA test, Maya pressed. Why? Jamal hesitated. Because I didn't want it to be true. The judge leaned forward. You removed your children from their mother without legal grounds. Do you understand the gravity of what you did? Jamal swallowed hard. Yes, Your Honor. But it wasn't just about what he admitted. It was about everything he couldn't undo. The ruling came 2 weeks later. The judge declared that Maria's parental rights had been violated in the most grotesque and unlawful way. The hospital was held liable for falsifying documents and racial discrimination. Jamal was found guilty of orchestrating the removal and defamation of character. He faced financial penalties in the hundreds of thousands. His business took a blow it would never recover from. Maria, finally, was vindicated. But more than that, she was seen. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed, mics shoved in her face. But this time, Maria wasn't afraid of being misquoted. She looked straight into the cameras and said, "This was never just about me. It's about what happens when society decides what a mother should look like, what a family should look like. I didn't win today because I fought. I won because I survived long enough to fight back." The triplets stood at her side, holding her hands. Later, back at their new home, a modest but beautiful rental paid for by donations and interim compensation, Maria sat in the backyard as the sun set. Caitlin brought her a lemonade. Caleb grilled burgers while Liam argued over music. It was loud, chaotic, unpredictable, but it was hers, her family, her truth, and no one could take it away again.